Hey guys, thank you so much for coming and joining today. We are going to be going deep into a new area of law called premises liability. Basically, the fancy lawyer word for slip and fall, trip and fall, and really getting hurt at a location, either your friend's house or at a business. We're going to be going deep into different questions that I get asked all the time about premises law. But before we go into that, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to follow along on this journey where I will help make sure you understand all these really tricky areas of the law, but really aren't as complicated as insurance companies want you to think. And just to remember, if you don't bring your personal injury case, the only people that get offered a discount are the insurance companies. So make sure to protect yourself and your personal injury case. So, how do slip and fall cases work? Make sure that the first thing that you do if you slip and fall and get hurt is take those pictures, because preserving the evidence is uber important when it comes to premises cases, because it can come down to a he said, she said if there is not objective evidence. So the first thing you should do, obviously, make sure you're okay and you didn't really get hurt. But if you can and you are up to it, take those pictures, make sure that you get an idea as to what happened. So for example, let's say that you were at a 7-Eleven and you are in a corner and you slip on a grape that happened to fall out of the cooler there. If you fall and that grape had been there for an unreasonable amount of time and you break your arm when you fall, you almost definitely have a personal injury case. But let's say you're on the side of the store where there weren't cameras. If you don't either have one of your friends or your family go and take a picture of that, and if everybody at that store lies about it, you're in kind of a tough spot. So how do these things work? Step one, make sure you get pictures. Step two, tell the store about it. Step three, ask for an incident report. If they don't give you an incident report, they sometimes won't, because think about it. You just fell on their property. The first thing they're going to do is CYA. They're covering their own ass. They know that the last thing they want you to do is to call someone like me to go get you paid. But remember, they are not paying you personally. How does it work? The insurance companies for that building will pay you. Almost all buildings, whether it's a commercial business, whether it's just a residence like your friend's house, they all have insurance on it, whether it be going through the mortgage they pay every month or some sort of commercial liability insurance. There is plenty of money to pay you for your injuries and for your pain and suffering. So how do they work? Make sure you get those pictures. Make sure you ask for an incident report. And the next thing you do, you really should consider talking to a personal injury lawyer. The reason why is because sometimes, like I said, it can become he said, she said. So if you get a personal injury lawyer involved, they will go to the scene, preserve the evidence, write letters to make sure that if there is video, it doesn't get deleted, because it actually is legal if the video is on a deletion loop. So for example, every 15 days, the videos get deleted. That is legal for it to get deleted. So if you don't call an injury lawyer immediately, that video might just get deleted and it might be gone forever. So really got to preserve that evidence with premises cases. How else does it work? There's different parts to it. Like for example, you broke your arm, you're going to have some medical bills there. A lot of insurance policies, in fact, most states require for insurance policies to have something called MedPay. MedPay. What MedPay will pay for is that will actually pay for the bills that you are charged for. So for example, let's say that it costs you $3,000 to get a surgery and get a plate put into your arm. That's being conservative. That MedPay, they may have $15,000, they may have $25,000. That is going to directly pay dollar for dollar for those bills. So if you get hurt and you're not sure you broke something, but you might have, you're hurt in your body just aches, go get checked out. Because MedPay exists, you're going to get those bills paid for. So how does it work? Make sure you're preserving everything. Go get yourself taken care of. If you don't get yourself taken care of, you're not going to feel better, most importantly, and you're definitely not going to have a personal injury case here. So really, there are some benefits to premises liability cases as a plaintiff. Number one, injuries tend to be really bad. Therefore, your pain and suffering is something that juries can understand. If they can understand the pain and suffering you're going through, there's a higher likelihood they're going to compensate you for it. That's part one. Part two is that most locations have plenty of insurance. Insurance is typically a problem in personal injury cases. Now, let me give you a different example. Let's go to a car crash. Let's say you were sitting at a stoplight, you got rear-ended, and that other driver only had $15,000 of insurance. Let's say that you broke every bone in your body. The amount of money you're getting there is $15,000 if you don't have anything on your own insurance policy. With a premises liability case, you are likely not going to run into that type of thing. Most people have a minimum of $250,000 if it's a personal home. And if it's a commercial building, you're likely looking at least a $500,000 policy. So don't worry about making a claim, because not only are the business owners not paying for it, their insurance companies are. And don't worry about doing this in a way that puts you through more pain than you have to be, because your bills are going to get paid for. So your bills getting paid for is one part. Getting paid for your pain and suffering is a second part. So let's say, how does this work? You take this case to a jury. And a jury in a premises liability case, absent some states have kind of wacky laws about how this stuff works. Let's say that it's just a normal state. There's no comparative negligence issues. You're going to go in front of a jury, and you're going to have two questions for them to answer. Number one, liability, who's at fault. So let's go back to the grape example. Let's say that they side with you, saying that that grape was pretty unreasonably there, and it was there for a long time. So you're going to win on liability. Let's say that you win 90 to 10. 10% you're liable, 90% you're not. Then you break your arm. They have to, on question two, answer damages. How much is the pain and suffering worth in a dollar figure? So step one, who's at fault? Step two, how much is it worth? If you're more than 50% at fault, you're not going to recover anything. In some states, if you're any percent at fault, you're not going to recover anything, like Maryland. But in most states, you have the ability to bring a personal injury case and simply win on those two questions, and you win your case, and you win that amount of money. So other parts to how this works. In terms of making a claim, you can make the initial part of your claim through the insurance companies yourself, but I would strongly recommend doing that through your own personal injury lawyer. The reason why, the injury lawyer's on your side. They know the kind of games that insurance companies will play. And if you say the wrong thing to an insurance company, they're going to lock you into a statement that they use at trial 2 years later. So make sure that you have a personal injury lawyer on your side when it comes to setting your case up, both from an investigation perspective and from a negotiation perspective. How else does it work? So in terms of proving your case, this isn't like sitting at a red light and getting rear-ended. It's not obvious all the time who is at fault. Sometimes you will be deemed a little bit at fault, and that may hurt you in the negotiation for what your case is worth. So for example, when you're sitting at a red light and you get rear-ended, you're not even moving, you're parked. You're 100% of the time going to win that case. But let's go back to that grape example. The 7-Eleven manager is going to testify and say, they saw it, I don't know why they walked over it. It's a little bit more of a he said, she said, like I said before, and it's not a 100% of the time thing that you're going to win. But with the right personal injury lawyer, they'll set your case up to make sure that it's successful and to make sure that a jury can connect with your story. So, God forbid that you're ever going through something like this. Don't hesitate to get treatment. Make sure to ask for an incident report. Get pictures of that scene. And if you have the ability to, do not speak to the insurance company about your injuries. Talk to an injury lawyer. It's a free consultation. They'll make sure that you understand every part of this and that your questions are answered. Thank you so much, and thanks for joining us for this. Click below on that subscribe button and continue to follow along. I really hope that none of you slip and fall and break an arm or get hurt. But if you ever do, I'm here for you. And trust me, don't trust those insurance companies. Thanks so much.